Greetings, I am Les.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
Yes!
This is actually going to be a little bit more like a game review, where we are going to be talking about Crashy Cats, dubbed 2.0 in this case, because it was recommended that we revisit the game after our old series.
By a lovely person by the name of Santiago Castaneda.
Yes.
So, we very much thank for your opinion, good person. I will not assume your pronouns, so I apologize.
They showed up on our old video, our wrap-up of all the cats, all the hats unlocked, and informed us that there was a new version of the game available, so we decided to go through and take a look at it. Now, when we originally started this channel, we had been doing nothing but Endless Runners, and this was one of the more fun ones that we approached because it's got the fun sort of pixelated nostalgia feel.
Right.
But
it's very much that early gamer kind of feel, though it is obviously more complex, which is obviously
kind of
a sign of the time.
I would say, right? I would say the thing is it functions as a pretty standard platformer with a very limited mechanic, and so it felt very familiar to me, having had a lot of like Mario and stuff in my childhood, you know?
Right.
So it was kind of fun. Things that I wanted to talk about in re-examining the game.
Yes, absolutely.
You want to play while I read?
Yeah,
you can do it. You can do it.
I can do it.
You
Oh
can't do
no.
it.
Okay.
I handled the board over to Scandal, so we're going to work on this. So as you can see, we are level 50. We are at the max level. We played through this game before coming up.
Yes.
Things to be aware of before you start this game. So, there are cats, and if I could just get Scandal to die real quickly.
Oh, hang on.
You gotta die with your cat.
There's nothing to really die on.
They,
You gotta give me a minute.
There are cats that are
Goodbye.
premium currency, and there are cats that are not. So we're gonna go over to the cats and check it out.
Right.
So there's some microtransaction cats which didn't exist before, and then and then you've got your standard cats where this one is the one you get at the outset, and then you can buy this one with coins, and then these ones all here cost fish, which is your premium currency.
Right. However, you can earn them in the end.
No, not these ones.
No, these
you
ones?
cannot.
No? Okay.
So these ones cost premium currency. However, these ones past the microtransaction ones, these ones are ones that you unlock while playing levels.
Right,
So
but you
all
can
of
buy
these
them
cats,
for fish. That's
They
it.
offer them for sale beforehand, before you know you can buy them for fish, before you know that you're going to unlock them with levels. So all of these ones, right after your last microtransaction cat, you'll win through levels. You don't need to buy them, but they're all available for like 50, 150, 200, 250 kind of currency,
Right.
with your fish currency, so up here in the top, if you haven't played the game.
Right.
However, they also added a pig.
Yay!
Now, one of my primary little complaints, if they updated the game, why didn't they make it so your gold could hold as much as the pig costs? So you max out at 99,999, and even though you continue acquiring gold, as I'll show you here,
Yay!
that's what we actually had over the 10,000 mark.
The 100,000K.
It was only 10,000.
Oh, is it only 10,000?
See, there's only one.
Oh,
two,
shoot.
three.
Yes. I'm really good at counting.
You are. Your decimals are beautiful. So
Hmm.
after, like, you cannot go above 999,099.
1, 2, 3.
No.
So 1, 2, 3, and then
4,
1, 2,
5.
and then
You
the one
cannot
place. So
make
that makes it
100,000. Yeah, you can't make 100,000.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the pig costs 100,000, and you can't actually even display 100,000. You can only get up to 99,999
Right.
because your decimal's missing. So that bothered me. I'm like, why not show it? So like when I first tried to earn the pig and I was saving up for it, I went, I can't actually get that much money. It was kind of irritating, but I didn't know if it was meant to be a joke or not. It might be a joke I'm not getting.
So that you can actually, so there's actually a lot of games, we were wondering if it was kind of a reference to where other games go, it only goes to 99.99, you know, or whatever, right?
And then that's your max out, but then they have something that costs more than that, which is kind of silly. Anyway, if you want to begin running.
Sure,
so,
I will run the game. And install a game that I don't play.
There are a few obligatory ads on here. They talk about them when you first install the game, that they're helping fund the game. I like that they actually tell you what they're for, so that they're actually helping pay the creators. But if you want to make your fish your premium currency that you can get daily and that you can get awarded through level progression, go further. It breaks into coins.
It
It's
does.
adorable.
That's super cute.
Anyway, if you want to make it go further, you just don't buy the level cats, just earn them and then buy the other cats at the beginning with your fish. All right, so this game was not terribly long. I thought when they revamped it, they would make it longer because it starts out with levels to pass and, of course, you know, cats and pig to unlock, etc. And so I was excited about it being longer and having more levels. If I remember correctly, the old one only had 30 levels and this one has 50. I was expecting more like 60, 80, or 100.
Right.
So this game, with not that much aggressive planning, took me 2 weeks to play all the way through. So this is 2 weeks from when we received the comment, we downloaded it, had to start completely over because it didn't save anything, and that's it.
Which is,
to me, given that it is like a collectible game, or at least it sets itself up that way at the outset, that feels really short, just 2 weeks. Anyway, but beyond that, what changed from the old one to the new one? Pretty much just more cats. Like, they didn't add more dogs, they didn't add more environments, they didn't change the rainbow, like star cat, anything like that.
Yeah, they didn't make the change like we thought from the
Rainbow
very
Space Cat,
beginning.
that one.
Was like, for example, when like you just saw. So see, when the pig zoops forward, we actually had a
turns into a
criticism.
cat shape.
It turns back into a cat, which we were like, we kind of complained about initially because one of the premium critters you could get in the other game was a panda, which you can still get in this game. But the thing is that it doesn't. Like it just
doesn't keep the animal shape. We thought it would be good if it had a special animal, if there was a special silhouette spray for the rainbow cat in space.
Right.
Now, if my good friend Scandal here can collect a couple of cakes, we can show you what that looks like.
Right.
But it's really easy to find. If you play the game for a couple of minutes, you collect 3 cakes, you'll see what Space Cat looks like. But the silhouette is always the same cat, no matter who your lead cat is, and that's a little disappointing.
Right.
There's the panda.
Yay,
All
panda!
Right. So as far as I can tell from the old one to the new one, the only thing they added is more levels and more cats. And then they added microtransaction cats. The old one didn't actually have any microtransaction cats at all. So it's just tap. It's like Flappy Bird.
I'm not good at Flappy Bird, though. You
that's
forget.
Fine. That's fine.
I never really played Flappy Bird.
So that doesn't seem like
of the age.
that many changes. Also, I was kind of disappointed that they took the high score table away, because for me, the high score table made something more interesting to do after I had unlocked everything. So in the old game, we actually went and beat one of the like up to right up in the top 10 of the world record high scores on the games.
Right.
And we thought, hey, that's basically totally beating it at this point. You know, you've gotten into the top 10 of the high scores in the world, you know, submitted scores, and you've gotten all the cats and all the hats. But in this one, since it has microtransaction cats, the only way to get them is, of course, to pay real cash, so far as I know.
Right.
All right, so once everything is unlocked, so I wanted to talk about the game structure just a little bit in reference to that, going, when you start the game out, it's like, here's all these cats that aren't unlocked that you can buy with premium currency, or that, as I've explained, you can win through levels, and here's all these microtransaction cats, and then here's a ton of hats. Now, we haven't even looked at hats yet, but as soon as Scandal dies on this round, we'll go look at hats. And what you do is you start out in the game collecting the hats, collecting the cats, and then also trying to beat the levels. So the game sets you up as an achievement-based game, and that your interest in the game is going to be based to some degree on those achievements. But when you finish all of those achievements, it goes away. So here's, oh no, we actually need to go to wardrobe, my bad. Here are all the hats. So these guys, you start with no hats and you slowly buy through these. I've just bought them all with coins. Some of them were for sale for fish, but they unlocked, or no, they weren't. Actually, some of them were locked off, but only unlocked with level progression.
Right.
So I didn't see any hats that cost fish at all, but there are a few of them that only unlock with levels, and then some of them that are just more expensive with coins. But it didn't take that long to buy through them. And if you're trying to earn coins faster, the more you buy, the faster you earn coins.
Right, so your collection bonus. So your bonus, you see how this hat has like 5%, and then these other hats, they'll have like 1%. So that is actually a cumulative effect. So the hat themselves, when you're running with that hat, doesn't do the 5% bonus on the run. It adds to your collection bonus overall.
And which is why you see both red gems and gold coins when we run, because the collection bonus is so high that they have to multiply some of the coins, otherwise they're going to be burying the screen.
Right.
All right, so that is what that's about. Oh, here we go. It's a shark pig.
All right, shark pig!
But with the game setting up that expectation, we're going, hey, you're level 1, let's reward you for getting level 2, let's give you tasks to achieve, which you can see here. Right. These are our tasks to achieve. Once you beat level 50, it just gives you fish for each additional level.
Right.
So if you do find yourself needing more premium currency, just continue beating levels and then multiply your fish by watching an ad. You'll get 6 fish per level.
Right.
So that's kind of neat. But that happened in the last one as well, just going, you could continue earning currency, but where do you spend it?
Right.
At this point, I have nowhere to spend my coins because all the hats are bought and all the cats are bought, and I have nowhere to spend my fish. So getting the 5 fish per day, which is the ones you can get in level, doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, what else is that stuff for? I always get frustrated when something's really important at the beginning of a game and then it becomes obsolete later. Like the currency is very important at the beginning of this game to be able to buy your hats, which are a big piece of the game, and also to buy 1 cat and then the pig.
Right.
So for me, I feel like that sort of locks the game off. Now, I still love the graphics. The music is still very charming. The different sounds where they make the pig snort is actually very, very charming to me.
It's very cute.
So that's really cute. And the fact that it dies differently. Also, if you would play with the angel cat briefly.
Yeah, sure.
They added a really fun cat with wings that I enjoyed a lot. She's right there.
But this is also a part of where we actually thought that the update was going to include some really interesting effects with the cats
Some
themselves.
new mechanics. What we were hoping for was more mechanics. One of the ways that I theorized to make the game have more longevity so that it's interesting for strategists and just for people wanting to have more of an experience as an endless runner after they finish the levels and unlockables is really to make some of the cats have effects. Like if the angel cat somehow could, like if the angel cat was in reference to like the walls, because you can fly through the walls at hyperspeed when you hit a rainbow circle.
Right.
If you had the rainbow cat in your train at the time when you missed the circle and were crashing into the wall, it could save you once by going through the wall. That'd be a fun mechanic. Or if you had like even if you brought one of the premium cats, like the gargoyle cat, and instead of it being just a cosmetic purchase or microtransaction, not premium,
Right.
It would actually do something like if you died on a dog with it, it could actually just like fight the dog and give you one free pass on a dog.
Right.
Where they actually change the mechanics. Or what I thought of like a fire cat. I love the fire cat. It's very charming. If when you went running in a box, even if it didn't change the mechanic, it just changed the visuals, your box was on fire.
Right.
I thought that would be super charming.
There was another one too. Isn't there like a water cat or
There's
something?
not. There's a digital
dang.
cat. I would say, but the digital cat could be interesting for like multiplying your electronics or something like that. Like if they interacted somehow with the game mechanics, there'd be more strategy around having a train of cats.
Right.
Like if you started with the angel cat, but you lose them when you have a train of cats, and then you have a bunch more cats left over, you might want to try and get them back if you are getting really fast and struggling with walls.
Right.
Now, I'm going to try and get us a little bit farther here.
Sure.
One of the things I wanted to talk about last is essentially strategy to the game itself, where the game speeds up as you go farther, which is fairly common for a lot of games. You get farther in, if it's an endless runner, it starts
And they're
to
trying to
increase
make
the
it
difficulty.
harder. Yep.
Right. And in this one, there are a number of obstacles that populate as you trigger them, such as rocket dogs. And those things come at a different interval the faster you go. So there's a couple of experiences where there's a rocket dog that will fly towards you with another dog blocking your path. And early on when the game is moving slowly, that rocket dog gives you a lot of space between it and the other dog if you don't raise it higher, so you can jump up between them. But later on in the game, when you're moving very, very quickly, the obstacle ratio changes and that gap closes a lot because I assume the trigger for releasing the rocket dog happens at a very different time.
Yep.
And so as you play the game, you find yourself crashing. The jump times change as well for doing things like double jumps and getting across chasms and things like that.
Right.
And like all of it changes as you go faster and faster. I don't know if that was intentional so that you would have to learn different timing or if that's just a result of the engine they programmed. But I found it very interesting that it was harder as it got faster, not because it was harder, but because my expected timing was different. So getting better at it going farther is going to be practicing the timing of being farther as well and realizing that those obstacles are different.
Right.
Also, having cat chains can really help you out because there's a couple of obstacles like that one, which sometimes you can fake your way around if you have enough cats.
Right.
Anyway, I liked that they updated it. I liked that they wanted to go further with it. I really appreciated that someone pointed it out to us because we really did do a wrap with this one originally that had everything in it. But I was disappointed that it didn't add much more to the game.
Yeah.
Because again, for me, as charming as this is, when they set up the gameplay mechanic as being, you're here to earn these things, once you've earned them all, it feels like there's something very much missing. And unless there's, again, like a high scoreboard to run against to go, well, I haven't earned all the things because I haven't got the highest world score or whatever, there's still something to work towards.
Right.
It feels like it loses a big piece of the game. Now, if the game didn't have any achievements at all, then I would be more interested as just a runner. And if it could hold its interest all on its own, it wouldn't feel like it changed dramatically, like it dropped a huge piece of itself.
Right.
The only other thing I might recommend is, like, other than maybe having more unlockables or adding some like strategy dynamics to the cats, or even just fun, like I said, like a burning box, like visuals where it's like, oh, if I have this cat in here, it's more fun to see this kind of thing.
Right.
That
And that's, I think, honestly, just for me, as mostly a casual observer, because this has primarily been Liza's game, because I will admit, I am not big into games like this at all. Endless runner type of things have never really been a crap ton of fun for me.
Scandal-like story.
I really, enjoy engaging in story. So this has been always a very interesting experience where my friend is like, I'm going to play these games where they just keep going and going and going, and I'm like, and there's really not much of a point to, because they're literally just mechanics.
Right.
And to me, and that's fine. That is not the kind of itch that I have in terms of games, and that's okay. But some days I can totally be the grinder that will go for, 30 hours or whatever and watch me go around and wow, kind of thing.
But at the same time, there's a story there that you're ultimately unlocking to some degree.
The kind of.
Theoretically,
because that's a whole other discussion about
All right,
how I
other
feel
discussion.
about WoW in regards to their storytelling. Because WoW, I cannot tell you the amount of times where they'd be like, "Here's the story." Yeah, I don't care.
I don't
because
care. It's about as deep as love, Nikki.
Yeah, pretty much. And you just start skipping through everything. But my big thing was also being like, for somebody who's watching, I kept expecting, honestly, like that's the thing that I really agreed with, because we talked about this a little bit off screen of going like, we really wish the cats did something.
That they
or
weren't
added
just
something.
cosmetic. That every single cat, even like your sword cat or your night cat, whatever it is, I feel like they changed his name afterwards. 'Cause
Right?
I thought it was sword cat initially.
I swear
But that
to-
they don't do anything. The hats don't do anything except multiply your coins, which is great unless you run out of the need for coins, and then they don't do anything anymore except for be cosmetic.
Right.
The cats are all cosmetic. If they weren't all cosmetic, again, you could have some form of
Which
strategy.
is not to say that cosmetic stuff isn't important for people. Like a lot of people, they love talking about it. So you can find this in regards to like Jim Sterling from the Jimquisition, where he will discuss the fact that a lot of people really do enjoy being distinct. We as people still like to express our individuality, even when we're in basically a group situation.
And I'm going to express my individuality by suggesting that Space Cat, the alien cat, is so unaware of what real cats are like that they wear a dog mask in effort to blend in. Go.
Yes, which is excellent, but also because this game doesn't, like, for example, you took away the leaderboard, and in some way you possibly could have made that more interesting for people to go, I bought this premium cat. Could literally be you bring the leaderboard back, and also you show the cat that they won that record with, basically.
Yeah, and that could be fun, going,
but
okay, here's part
I'm
of my
also
strategy.
like, I don't necessarily, because for me, I don't really like microtransactions, and I understand. I would love for people to be able to eat, and I understand that our capitalist society sucks, so, viva la revolution and all that crap.
People design their games around trying to earn money because they can't do things not to earn money.
Yes, which is very frustrating, and I feel like as somebody who's enjoyed being creative and loves sharing stories, and everybody has all different reasons for being creative, that in a lot of ways of just trying to focus purely on a cash model is not the way to go.
It also can hamper your story. The last thing that I would add to this game is to just make it a little more interesting, but even make it simpler, potentially, like for a developer, if I was one, is more tasks.
Yes.
Like if you get into the levels beyond levels, and they have, the collect 99 bottles, go travel 30,000, meters, start 16 house fires, which none of them get that high. It's always 3 house fires.
Oh, yeah,
But run in a box 5 times, whatever
they don't
it is.
seem to increase a lot.
I was going to say, they increase a little bit, but then after a point, they don't. I would consider adding more things. The bottle quest for me is ridiculous, but adding more different quests, like knock down flaming chandeliers, knock down dragon skulls, things that make you think about the environment you're in more specifically, engage you more as a player.
I would also say, though, like, maybe for me, what I'm wondering why they didn't do some of the things they did is also going, what was the expectation? Maybe they really were expecting that, unlike, some people, they're not going to actually get through it in 2 weeks after re-downloading basically a game from scratch.
And restarting
Where my good friend Lies here, she literally blazed through it, I would think, based off of that attitude of going, well, all these extra things, they will give them enough money to buy, say, like the pig. And it's like, I'm going, does that mean then that they expect that most people are going to play really poorly at this game?
I don't know. And that was kind of my wonder too, because I initially didn't buy hardly any of the hats because I didn't know if the currency system would have been restructured based on coming back here. And originally we had bought hats whenever we could afford them, but also they had a chest system that used to exist that doesn't exist anymore. They now just have the daily chest instead of being able to buy chests with coins. So historically, you could buy way more chests with coins, and it was a way to keep using your coins, and the chests got exponentially more expensive. They increased, percentage-wise every time you bought one. So you can continue buying them, but ultimately it turned into just buying fish, which was disappointing because all your new hats, once you had them all, would translate into a fish bonus, which is super cool if you get a repeat hat and you need fish, but once all the fish cats are bought, then what?
Yeah, exactly, which is the level of kind of frustration of going, how long did you actually expect, though, for people, like me, this is sort of like a developer kind of question, going, how long did you actually expect for people to invest in terms of this game? How good do you think people in general would actually become at this game? Did you think your game was going to just be really hard and people weren't going to be able to get there in, say,
or
like
what it
2
was,
weeks?
or that the game would continue to have interest after the goals. And the thing is, as I said, that the basic idea for me is that if they hadn't set up that the focus of this game is to achieve the levels, unlock the cats, and collect the hats, then I wouldn't have felt like so much was missing afterwards.
Right.
Because for me, it is a fun endless runner. It is very charming. Breaking the objects is very fun. Getting the cakes is very fun. Strategizing a little bit to try and go farther is very fun. But when the game has set up that your distance isn't important, but your goals of gaining levels, collecting cats, and collecting hats are what's important, then a huge piece of the game goes away. So it's less engaging, and it's more internally driven than it is driven by the game itself.
Right, and this is
If
the
you
thing
have
also
internal
where we
goals.
actually talked about too, of going like maybe it would have, and this is again a theoretical. I don't know what the model is behind the individuals who made this game. I have no idea. My idea was even possibly just going, why didn't you just kind of set it up of being like, hey, if you like our game and you like these things, you could just basically buy the game, like you downloaded it for free, but you could buy the game, get rid of the ads, and then you've spent, $5 or $10 or something on this game. Most people would be like 5 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like in that way, then you've supported us even more, and then you're done.
And the reason I clicked on this ad here was one of the reasons that they included ads like this is you can watch 3 ads per day to earn a fish, which does support them. So they actually have a direct fish, like premium currency for watching ads support, exchange. But again, the microtransaction cats can't be earned in any way other than paying for them all separately. And for me, like here at the very beginning, like each one of these cats, you've got, let's see,
Bear cats.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $8 worth of cats that are premium cats. And then you have this guy here, which is your combo cat, which is 3 more. So it's $11 if you wanted to buy the game full on, which this doesn't seem like a complex enough game
Right.
to charge $11. However,
Which is again one of those things actually Liza had expressed of going like, I wish they had more biomes. Because even as much as you've enjoyed the game, you also were like, it's kind of boring. Like especially when you played it before, like it really does, even me just watching, it looks really repetitive. And sure, there are some cool, neat kills, where you're just like, I crashed this huge line. Some of that is fun. But past
sometimes
the point,
when you
it's
crash
like
a line
the
of 12
loop
cats, it's amazing.
is so... It gets very samey very quickly. It's very
does.
old. And that's not to say that your game is bad. It's just going like, again, how long were you expecting people to invest in the game of going, where were you expecting the returns? Were you expecting people to get bored with your game fairly quickly, or going that it shouldn't be worth this much time or investment, or...
Yeah,
I
and
don't
that
know.
would be the thing is for me, I was having a lot of fun with it, again, as long as there were those internal game goals to deal with. But once they went away, I didn't feel like there was anything more to do.
Right.
Because I'd achieved all the goals that the game set out for me.
Right.
And if it hadn't set goals out for me, I could have defined my own goals, such as what I really want to do is hit every single fluorescent lamp. What I want to see is every single interior biome that they design in one run.
Right.
Like there are goals that you can set up. And in fact, Everrun, which is another endless runner we played way back in the day, about 2 years ago, in fact, did some fun videos on when we were just learning how to do this, still learning, by the way.
Right.
Was it actually had a see every single biome in one run as a part of its achievements. And if they had, again, like more achievements or something, but anyway, that wraps it all up. That's just sort of repeating myself at this point. So that is sort of my feel on this game, is that the way it's set up to make itself engaging, the fact that that drops off makes the game have less potential than if it had something more like that the player themselves could engage with for longer and didn't go away.
Right.
Earning coins doesn't feel important once I have nowhere to spend them. Earning fish doesn't feel important once I have nowhere to spend them.
Right, you set up this big mechanic of going, fish are going to be really important, this thing's going to be really important, and then basically all the other ways to interact with the game is just, spend money on the game.
And so I think adding, again, more mechanics that made the player be able to develop their own strategy, or just fun visual things that made, I'm just trying to run as long as I can run, but I can watch, I can have the angel cat save me sometimes, or if there's a cat that can tolerate water, that can, give you 1 extra bounce on water,
right.
Or, that kind of thing, then, if it happens to be in your group, and you get that one-time usage, it doesn't change the game like super dramatically as far as I'm going to just have a Hail Mary pass all.
I think also we had just some minor quibbles in regards to also what we socially, for example, this is a really light example of what, there's some of the quests that literally also do have some silly things like of going, destroy all like 30 bottles or whatever.
99 bottles.
99
it's
bottles.
Always 99 bottles
It's
on the
destroy
wall.
99 bottles. And my biggest problem with that is that watching is going like, well, why isn't that a bottle?
irritation.
Or why isn't this thing a bottle? And
So-
it's like, socially for me, like there are multiple things on this in this particular game that I go, that's a bottle. And sometimes it really does seem like also that definition changes, and it's very confusing because it doesn't also like try to distinctly either teach you or make itself very obvious
of what bottles
so even
are.
as much as that point that Lai said earlier of going like make your players engage more with what's in the background, like hitting more dragon skulls or knocking over a series of like specific paintings or whatever
Or
it is.
specifically boop a dog in a pool, because they do have, you know, boop dogs, which when you
Right.
jump on the top of them, it says boop.
Right.
I say, but they have boop 5 dogs in one run, or boop 10 dogs total. If they had boop a dog in a pool, which is the rarest dog as far as I know, that would give you a thing to try and run towards.
The Bowser cat. Sorry, we love the fact that we put a Koopa shell on top of the fire, cat. It makes us giggle.
Like the red fire Koopas. It was super fun.
It's adorable.
Anyway, so that's really my opinions on this game. I appreciate getting sent back to it. It was kind of fun to revisit it. I have strategy guides and stuff that I wanted to share if you wanted to burn through the levels really, really fast. But since you don't want to burn through the levels really fast because it kind of ends the game, I don't know if you're interested. But we would love to hear comments or, you know, feedback or anything like that. This has been one of our more solid game reviews where oftentimes we just do playthroughs. But I felt this one needed a more structured review based on the fact that we're revisiting it for a second time.
Right, and we've finally had some time, some experience. Ah, yes, look back upon our lives and scoff. Ah, you thespians.
You plebeians.
You plebes. You do not truly understand the archaic arts of the aristocracy.
Of the
Yes.
Let's Play and the game dynamics.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us. We really appreciate you being here. If you stuck with us all the way to the end, if you would like to support us, please check out our Patreon and our Ko-Fi, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you can't do any of those things, or share with your friends.
That's always helpful.
I
Or
have-
discuss it. Be part of the discourse.
Absolutely, please. Like, it's super cool. This has been Scandal, though.
And I have been Liz. And it was great playing with you. Bye!